Okay, so David Zaslav, who refuses to pay people. First of all, the dude has come out and said that what the problem with Warner Brothers is. We're not using Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and DC enough. We need to be making more money off of them. One of the other real strengths of Warner Bros. Is we talk about the great IP that Warner Bros. Owns. But for us, the challenge is that our content, our great IP, Harry Potter, DC, Lord of the Rings, that content has been underused. We haven't done anything with Harry Potter for more than a decade. We haven't done anything with Lord of the Rings. He also noted we've got to be careful not to overuse the content. That's good. That's good, man. I like that. Okay, maybe he's not so... Okay, wait, never mind. We think there's a lot of shareholder value in attaching a real plan around DC, bringing Harry Potter back to HBO for 10 consecutive years, doing multiple movies of Lord of the Rings, Zaslav said. I try to not be mean to people. When people say dumb stuff, I'm always like, let's hear them out, okay? And David Zaslav, although he does want to pay people for, the acting and the writing and stuff like that, I'll give him credit for the one thing he said of this content shouldn't be overused. I'll give him credit for that. But the rest of it, the fact that all he sees this as like the shareholder thing, that makes me so mad. I hate ranting. I'm trying to be a nice guy. I love all of those properties. I love DC. I love Lord of the Rings. I love freaking in my room Harry Potter. That's the Slytherin flag I have in my room in like the corner of all my videos. I love Harry Potter. This is the issue with, the Hollywood machine right now, that they just see it all as the money. And it's more and more obvious with everything with the strikes. All they care about is the money. And like, what happens to artistic integrity? What happened to satisfying your audiences? What happened to making the best thing possible in original IP, original stories? If you water down Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings to the point that no one wants to see them anymore, it's going to ruin the legacy and the reputation. It's going to ruin everything. There is a situation where there are interesting stories that can be told here. I'm not saying you make anything Harry Potter, it's like, oh, screw you, you're just here for the money, you're milking it dry. But it's statements like this that just make me nervous, dude. The whole idea of the Harry Potter reboot in the first place is incredibly silly when we have games that came out 6 months ago that are all still taking place in this Harry Potter world that Christopher Columbus, John Williams, all of them created. People still care about that. They still love about that. People are still going to the theme parks with, the Harry Potter world, Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson and Rupert Grint, all of that stuff. Why do we have to move on? Why do we have to make another franchise for the same story? It's just for money. It's just for money and for clout to, we gotta spike the Warner Brothers name. Lord of the Rings 2, the Tolkien estate, is very careful and selective because they don't want to ruin this reputation. They don't want Lord of the Rings to become this big franchise of 30 movies and things like that. If they don't pay the writers, then we're gonna get trapped. We're gonna have 3 good Lord of the Rings movie. Maybe there's an argument for 5 or 6. We'll say 6, will be generous with Middle-earth. There's 6 good Middle-earth movies and 15 bad ones of now we gotta go Gimli's cousin, Gimli's Tio. Really don't like the way he says it, the way that he says all of this stuff, the way he says, we need to do all of this to increase the shareholder value. That's the wrong way to look at it, 100%. It sounds like he wants a big franchise, and that's completely fine. Big franchises, there's a lot of popularity in that. You look at Marvel and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, all of that stuff. First of all, you can develop other movies Warner Brothers made. Warner Brothers has a ton of movies in that catalog. Develop some of that stuff. Create some new things. There are other books out there that I'm sure there's a lot of potential in them. Hollywood seems to get scared and they run back to their properties that are safe. It's happening with the current DCEU right now, where it's kind of just like all falling and crumbling upon itself. And Blue Beetle, I wanted Blue Beetle to work so bad, dude. I was rooting for Blue Beetle. People didn't even go to see it because they don't care, because people aren't interested, because DC hasn't been hitting. It'd kill me inside for me to get to that point with Harry Potter, with Lord of the Rings. I don't think that would happen for another 10 years, but even then, Fantastic Beasts isn't performing that well. That sucks, dude. That sucks. Again, there are good things about that. If people aren't going to show up to see Dumbledore origin stories, if we're not going to do that well, I don't blame them, because the Dumbledore origin movies, which is Fantastic Beasts, isn't even that good. DC, I understand. I understand wanting to capitalize, wanting to make DC like a fool thing. I 100% understand that. And I think that the hiring of James Gunn was a phenomenal choice, a great choice, one of the better choices they probably have made in a long time. But dude, I get worried, man. I get so worried that they're just in it for the money. Like, creative integrity, it's all about that. It's all about making art, you know, like that's what movies are doing at the end of the day. They're making art. This has to be carefully crafted, carefully acted and written and directed and scored and edited, and you know, the makeup and the hairstylist. I ranted. I'm upset. I'm worried.